When news broke that multiple beloved stars from NCIS, one of television's longest-running procedurals, were leaving the show one by one, fans were stunned. What really happened behind the cameras? Was it simply contract disputes or something deeper behind the scenes? Stick with us as we uncover the real reasons these NCIS actors walked away from their iconic roles, and what it means now for the actors and the franchise they left behind. NCIS wasn't supposed to be a phenomenon. Starting as a humble spin-off of JAG in 2003, this procedural drama about the Naval Criminal Investigative Service was expected to be just another crime show in an already saturated market. Yet something clicked. The perfect chemistry between characters, the balance of humor and serious investigation, and the leadership of Mark Harmon as Special Agent Leroy Jethro Gibbs created a formula that would carry the show through 2 decades and counting. The series quickly established itself as a ratings powerhouse for CBS, regularly pulling in over 16 million viewers during its peak seasons. For many of the cast members, NCIS wasn't just a job, it became home. Some stayed for 5 seasons, others for 10, and a select few for nearly 20 years. But no matter how long they remained, their departures sent shockwaves through the fandom. The success of NCIS wasn't just about cases of the week. It was about the characters who solved them. Mark Harmon's stoic but fatherly Gibbs, Michael Weatherly's charismatic and movie-obsessed Tony DiNozzo, Cote de Pablo's mysterious former Mossad agent Ziva David, and Paulie Perrette's brilliant and quirky forensic scientist Abby Sciuto became household names. The show's formula worked because of the perfect blend of procedural efficiency and character development. Between investigating murders and terrorist threats, viewers watched Tony mature from a frat boy to a capable leader, Ziva transform from a hardened assassin to a trusted team member, and Abby balanced her gothic appearance with a heart of gold. Each actor brought something unique to their role, creating characters that felt authentic despite the sometimes outlandish cases they tackled. By 2011, NCIS had become the most-watched TV drama in America. The cast appeared on magazine covers, at conventions, and in the hearts of millions of devoted fans. They weren't just actors on a show, they were family members invited into living rooms week after week. But that wasn't the whole story. What viewers didn't see was the grueling schedule behind a network procedural. NCIS typically films 24 episodes per season, each requiring 12 to 16-hour days, often starting before sunrise and ending well after dark. Actors reported regularly working 80-hour weeks during production, with minimal breaks between episodes. "The schedule is punishing," one former crew member reportedly told Hollywood Reporter. "You're essentially giving up your life for 9 months of the year." This pressure was especially intense for the main cast. Unlike some ensemble shows where episodes might focus on different characters, allowing actors some downtime, NCIS relied heavily on its core team. Mark Harmon, as the face of the franchise, reportedly appeared in nearly every scene during the early seasons, a workload that would eventually take its toll. Meanwhile, the actors were facing other pressures. As the show's popularity grew, so did expectations. Contract negotiations became more complex and often public. When an actor on a hit show asks for a raise, it makes headlines. When they decide to walk away from millions of dollars, speculation runs wild. What fans often missed were the personal struggles happening off camera. Several cast members were dealing with health issues, family responsibilities, and creative frustrations that never made it to the tabloids. Some actors had been playing the same character for a decade or more, a creative challenge rarely discussed in the excitement of fandom. Sasha Alexander, who played Agent Caitlin Todd for the first 2 seasons, reportedly left due to the physical demands of the role. According to interviews years later, the intense schedule had taken a serious toll on her health. "I worked 10 months a year, 17 hours a day," Alexander reportedly told TV Guide. "I just didn't think it was humanly possible to do it forever." For others, family came first. Cote de Pablo, who played Ziva David for 8 seasons, had been commuting between Los Angeles and her family on the East Coast for years. Sources close to the actress suggested the separation was becoming increasingly difficult to manage. And then, everything changed. For each departing actor, there was a moment, or series of moments, that tipped the scales from staying to leaving. For Sasha Alexander, it was reportedly a conversation with show producers about her health concerns. For Michael Weatherly, who played Tony Donoso for 13 seasons, it was allegedly a growing desire to lead his own show and expand his range as an actor. Cote de Pablo's exit in 2013 sent perhaps the biggest shockwaves through the fandom. Her departure was abrupt, announced just before filming began for season 11, leaving writers scrambling to explain Ziva's absence. According to multiple reports, De Pablo was unhappy with the direction planned for her character and felt the salary offered didn't reflect her contribution to the show's success. As far as my decision to leave, that's a personal thing, and I'd rather leave it at that, De Pablo told TV Guide magazine at the time. The idea of leaving was not something I toyed around with for a long time. It was an overwhelmingly hard thing. For Polly Perrette, who played the beloved Abby Sciuto for 15 seasons, the situation was more complex. In 2018, after announcing her departure, Perrette posted a series of cryptic tweets alleging multiple physical assaults and a machine keeping her silent. While she didn't name names, the implications sent rumors flying through Hollywood. CBS responded with a statement acknowledging that Perrette had come to them with a workplace concern, that they had worked with her to find a resolution. The public narrative around these departures often differed dramatically from the behind-the-scenes reality. When actors left, press releases typically cited new opportunities or pursuing other projects. The departures were framed as amicable, mutual decisions. Exit interviews featured hugs, tears, and promises of reunions. But industry insiders painted a more complicated picture. Contract negotiations reportedly broke down multiple times over the show's run. According to sources familiar with television production contracts, actors on long-running shows typically renegotiate every 3 years, with substantial raises expected for series that maintain high ratings. For Cote de Pablo, reports suggested she was offered significantly less than her male counterparts despite her character's popularity. She was asking to be paid what she was worth, one source allegedly told TV Line. For Mark Harmon, who finally reduced his role in season 19 before largely departing, the issue was reportedly both workload and creative control. As an executive producer since season 10, Harmon had significant input in the show's direction, but was still bound by network and studio decisions. The truth, as always, likely lies somewhere in the middle. A complex mix of creative differences, contract disputes, personal health, family priorities, and the natural desire for change after years playing the same character. But that wasn't the whole story. For each actor, the decision to leave one of television's most successful shows meant walking away from not just a steady paycheck, but a character that had become part of their identity. When Michael Weatherly announced his departure in 2016, he framed it as a natural evolution. Donoso is a wonderful, quixotic character, and I've had an amazing time playing him over the past 13 seasons, Weatherly said in a statement. The character is taking me to other opportunities. Those opportunities included starring in the legal drama Bull, where Weatherly took on the lead role, and reportedly a significant pay increase and producer credit. For Polly Perrette, the decision appeared more fraught. After her final episode aired in May 2018, she tweeted, "I refuse to go low. That's why I've never told publicly what happened. But there are tabloid articles out there that are telling total lies about me." She followed with claims about a machine keeping her silent and allegations of assault. CBS responded with a statement, "Polly Perrette had a terrific run on NCIS, and we are all going to miss her." Over a year ago, Polly came to us with a workplace concern. We took the matter seriously and worked with her to find a resolution. We are committed to a safe work environment on all our shows. The network never elaborated on the nature of the concern or the resolution, leading to years of speculation about what really happened on set. For Mark Harmon, the franchise's cornerstone, the exit was more of a fade-out than a dramatic departure. After reducing his screen time in season 18, Harmon appeared in only 4 episodes of season 19 before his character Gibbs decided to remain in Alaska after solving a case. According to sources close to production, this semi-retirement was the compromise Harmon reached with CBS to keep the show running while allowing him to step back from the grueling schedule. Each departure created ripples through both the NCIS universe and the larger television landscape. Ratings fluctuated, with some exits causing more viewer drop-off than others. Cote de Pablo's departure reportedly led to a noticeable ratings decline, with the show losing nearly 2 million viewers the season after she left. The show's writers faced the challenge of explaining these absences in ways that honored the characters while allowing for possible returns. Ziva was presumed dead in a mortar attack, only to return years later. Tony left to raise their daughter, and Abby resigned after nearly being killed to start a charity in honor of her late friend. Behind the scenes, production had to adapt. New characters were introduced, dynamics shifted, and the show's focus evolved. Some fans embraced these changes, while others declared the show over after their favorite character left. For the network, each departure meant delicate negotiations with remaining cast members, whose leverage increased as the roster of original stars dwindled. Industry insiders reported that after several high-profile exits, CBS became more aggressive about signing remaining cast members to multi-year contracts with significant raises to prevent further losses. And here's where it gets complicated. Life after NCIS took these actors in wildly different directions. Michael Weatherly moved directly to Bull, where he played the title character for 6 seasons before the show ended in 2022. The series was successful but faced its own controversies, including a sexual harassment settlement involving Weatherly and former co-star Eliza Dushku. Cote de Pablo initially stepped away from television altogether, telling reporters she wanted to focus on family and more diverse roles. In 2019, she made a surprise return to NCIS for a story arc that resolved Ziva's presumed death and reunited her off-screen with Tony and their daughter. Pauley Perrette effectively retired from acting after leaving NCIS, with only one short-lived sitcom, CBS's Broke, in the years since her departure. In 2020, she announced on Twitter that she was happily retired from Hollywood and focusing on activism, charity work, and her personal life. Sasha Alexander found success in both film and television, including a leading role in Rizzoli and Isles that ran for 7 seasons. Mark Harmon has kept a lower profile since reducing his NCIS role, with no major new projects announced as of this recording. For many of these actors, leaving NCIS wasn't the end, but a beginning, a chance to redefine themselves beyond the characters that made them famous. The narrative around these departures often falls into oversimplified categories: fired, greedy, difficult to work with, or ungrateful. The reality, according to those familiar with television production, is far more nuanced. One persistent rumor claimed Cote de Pablo left over money alone, but multiple sources close to the actress have indicated creative differences played an equal or larger role. She didn't feel her character was being given the respect she deserved, one colleague reportedly told Entertainment Weekly. For Pauley Perrette, the story became about an alleged feud with Mark Harmon after an incident involving his dog on set. While there was reportedly tension, focusing solely on this element obscures the complexity of a workplace environment that spans 15 years and thousands of production hours. Perhaps the biggest misconception is that these actors left the security of NCIS on impulse. According to industry insiders, most departures from long-running shows involve months or years of consideration, negotiation, and planning, often with the actors continuing professionally on set long after they have made the decision to leave. Despite their departures, these actors left an indelible mark on television history. NCIS continues as one of the longest-running scripted primetime TV series in the U.S., having spawned multiple spin-offs and international adaptations. The characters these actors created remain cultural touchstones, referenced and remembered years after their final appearances. Weatherly's Dinoso set the template for the charming but competent investigator with a movie reference for every situation. De Pablo's Ziva broke ground as one of the first Middle Eastern female characters to lead an American procedural. Perrette's Abby changed perceptions about alternative appearance in professional settings and inspired countless young women to pursue STEM fields. The show they helped build has employed hundreds of cast and crew members over 2 decades, creating a lasting economic and cultural impact. For the actors themselves, NCIS provided financial security, global recognition, and a platform they've used for everything from launching production companies to supporting charitable causes. Whatever led to their departures, their contributions remain. The contrast between these actors' early enthusiasm and the circumstances of their exits reveals much about the entertainment industry itself. Early interviews show bright-eyed performers excited about steady work on a promising show. Later interviews, or telling silences, reflect the complexity of a career defined by a single character. In the beginning, it was all about the opportunity, Michael Weatherly told CBS This Morning before his departure. 13 years later, you start thinking about other opportunities, other challenges. For many cast members, their relationship with the show evolved from employment to ownership, with all the additional pressures that entails. As their characters became cultural icons, the line between actor and role blurred for both fans and the performers themselves. Walking away meant not just leaving a job, but saying goodbye to a version of themselves. The physical toll also became evident. Mark Harmon, who began NCIS in his early 50s, was approaching 70 when he reduced his role. The physical demands of stunts, long days, and constant performance had visible effects on all the long-term cast members. Perhaps most telling is how they have spoken about the show since leaving. Most have expressed gratitude mixed with a clear desire to move forward. Few have returned for guest appearances, and those who did, most notably De Pablo, did so only after significant time away. The pattern of departures from NCIS reflects larger truths about television production in the streaming era. As networks fight to maintain long-running hits, the human cost of these production schedules becomes increasingly apparent. Television is not designed for 15, 18, 20-year commitments, one casting director reportedly told Variety. The system was built around 5 to 7-year runs for most successful shows. These mega hits create unprecedented situations for everyone involved. The economics are equally complex. While streaming has created more opportunities for actors, the traditional network model still relies on keeping costs controlled, even as shows age. For performers on a hit series, this creates a perpetual tension between the security of a known role and the potential of new opportunities. For viewers, these departures force us to confront our own relationship with fictional characters. The grief fans express when a beloved character leaves reveals how deeply these stories penetrate our lives. We invite these characters into our homes weekly, making them part of our routine and emotional landscape. The revolving door at NCIS, where beloved characters leave and new ones arrive, mirrors life itself. Nothing remains static. Everyone eventually moves on. When the news broke that these NCIS stars were leaving the show they helped build, it wasn't just about contract negotiations or scheduling conflicts. It was about human beings making the difficult choice between comfort and growth, between the known and the possible. For each actor who walked away from one of television's biggest hits, the real reason was as complex as the characters they portrayed. A mixture of professional ambition, personal well-being, creative fulfillment, and the simple human need for change. Their legacies continue both within the show that still bears their influence and in the new chapters they've written for themselves beyond it. If this deep dive into the real reasons behind these NCIS departures helped you understand the human stories behind the headlines, consider subscribing to our channel. We're dedicated to looking beyond the surface of entertainment news to find the authentic stories of the people who create the shows and films we love. Hit that subscribe button and join us as we continue exploring the truth behind Hollywood's biggest changes and challenges.